So you have to, uh, yes, you have to just derive it from the exception. Okay. So for getting access custom exceptions, you need to first derive uh, uh, derive the exception from the this. Okay. So then you have to raise customer error. So this type of message you will get. Now you will get customer. I think some. Okay. So you will get customer error. Now if you want to just display some message here, so you will write raise customer error and error offer. So that message will be reflected. Okay. Here we have created a user-defined exception called customer, which inherits from the exception class. Okay. So we have defined some exception called customer, which inherit from the exception class. So from the exception, this new exception like other can be raised using the raise statement, as we have done in last class, with an optional error message. So here I have not getting an error message, but here I've written this, so which displays some error message. So it's up to you whether you want to display the error message or not. When we are developing a large Python program, it is a good practice to place all the user-defined exceptions that our program raises in file. Many modules they define exactly as this basically. This is not good. Example, I'm taking some example. Suppose we need to guess a number 10. Okay, so here I have defined some class of errors, exception, and here class value too small error, and here class value too large error. So value this one this. Or here you can see if I number is less than when the input number which should get input. So this for example, when I input 9, this is a smaller number. Okay. So what I'm getting? This value is too small. Try again. So when I again enter 8, so again I'm getting this value is too small. Try again. So when I enter 11, what I'm getting? This value is too large again. So in this way we can guess the number, and finally when we get 10, it will message congratulations you get to 50. So this is the thing. Now let's see the code. This is inum equal to int this. So uh, I would just typecast it to int because this is with string. When I enter the number, when I give the input 8, 10, 11, anything, it is just in the form of string. So I have to typecast string. Now I'm checking if inum is less than number or number which was getting number was 10, okay, which I have to guess, and I number is the input. So 8 less than 10. So okay, so we will get the message value too smaller that I was getting, and value too smaller, I can see what will happen. Okay, if we get it, we will get value too large error, and value too large error, we will get the message this value is too large. Okay, so in this way it is working. And the last class we have seen the die except now, die except matter. So what it was doing, we have no. So when there will be some exception, also they will it will it goes over here. For this part value too small error, it will goes here, and for too large error, it will goes. This will follow. So and when there is no error, so it will print it. This will be printed. Congratulations, you guys took it. So in this way it works. So the message we are getting this value is so this is a custom exception. Here we have created our own exceptions like value too small error, value too large error. So this is the procedure how to create. First you have to define the class, and then this according to a condition that we will do. And here when we take in the input, obviously have check. So ultimately the procedure that this is the exact procedure what we have to do. First, you have to define the class, and this is for whichever you want to define, and then exception. Then you have to raise that and the message which you want to print. It is optional. If you will not do this, then also you will get the error. Okay. Now customizing exception classes. We can further customize this class to accept other arguments as per our needs. So we can customize this class to accept other arguments also, uh, as we needed. So in need to have the basic knowledge of Python. So we'll not go into details. So please, it is some vast topic. So here I will define the class salary not in ranger. So here we'll get the message. Sorry, we will get the error salary not in ranger. Section, okay. Okay, and just attribute salary not. So here we'll get two things. The first is the salary, input salary, which will get which will input as we give the answer, and the message which will explain it. So here what happens first, salary in this. So first I input something. Let's say see there it is some random number, and when I did, so what happens if it does not lie in this range? Okay, so 3890 was not in this range and not. So it goes over here. And what happens here? Let's see. Self dot salary salary. So our salary was 3890 something. So then and this. Okay. So we will get the message salary not in. So what is the message here? The message is salary is not in this range. Okay. So something self dot message. So here only message will come. Here we will get the message. Uh, yeah, this is the thing. Message is this. Salary is not in this range. Okay. So we get the message. Salary is not in this range. And self-service is also input to this function. Now you can do this. Here we have overridden the constructor of the expression class to accept our own custom argument, salary, and message. Here we have given the salary as input and the message in the code. Then the constructor of the parent expression class is called manually. Okay, with the self.message arguments using super. The custom self.salary attribute is defined to be used later. The string is method to be used to display corresponding message and string. So when the corresponding this error was raised, this exception was raised, we got the message here like this, and the error as we have defined in the code. Okay, so you don't need to worry about these things. You will get to know. But you need to see the basic thing for what happens here. So here you can see. Similarly, when I give the input, let's say we give the input 7,000. Here it lies in this range. Okay. So when it lies in this range, we will not get any error, and this output will be okay. Uh, if I give the input which lies in the range, so let's say with does not lie in the 1,000, what will happen? You can see. Or salary not in range. Okay, so we will get the error or salary not in range. And what is the message that we get? The message is related to this state. The return is this. So what is the self.salary? Here is the salary which input get, which is 6 or 1,000. And what is self.message? It's the message that it is this salary is not in. So in this way, customer errors, we have defined the customer errors. How we are getting the message and what is the error that we need. So accordingly we can get that. So you can change the name also, or that's you can do. I will not do that. Okay. So this is the thing how to define the custom errors. You can uh, do it for own purpose also. मतलब अपने हिसाब से डिफाइन करके कर सकते हैं तो अपने हिसाब से एरर प्रिंट करना कि ये एरर से आ जाए डिपेंडिंग अपॉन क्वेश्चन. Okay. uh, Sagar Babu, if you want you can add something. I given the brief overview.
Okay, so here classes are involved. So those who can understand classes, they that is fine. So those who are not familiar with classes and objects, you can skip it for now, or you can, if you're interested, you can go through it online as well. If possible, if time permits, we can have a session on classes and objects later on. It was not actually a part of our plan, but uh, If time permits, we can take a session on classes and objects as well. But for now, those who are not familiar with classes and objects can skip that topic. Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic. Is my screen visible?
Yes, bro.
So here we'll see how to use Python to handle files. So in VS Code, when you open, when you create uh, a file and you are doing this, so you can see here I'm not open any folder, but if I open some folder, you can see that uh, this is the folder I'm working in. This is called as a directory. So the directory I'm working in is basically this file IO. And these are the files that are present in my directory. So how can I handle these files uh, with the help? How can I handle these files with the help of Python? That means uh, instead of doing it, instead of adding a new file by clicking on this, I can in fact write some code and create a new file here. So we'll see those kind of things today. Okay, so these are called as file operations. So I hope everybody knows files. So files are basically named locations on disk to store related information. So there are different types of files like .txt file, text file, and image like .jpg or and so many other types of files. So so how can we do operations on files using Python, like opening a file, closing a file, writing to a file, and reading contents from the file? So in Python, we have the open function, which is a very powerful tool while dealing with files. So what does the open function do? So when the open function, when you provide the path of a file, so so here we are passing the test.txt. You can just write the file name if it is already present in your current directory. So what is my current directory here? This file IO is my current directory. So if I have the uh, see here, I have the test.txt. So I can just write test.txt here to open it. I need not write the entire um, path for this file. If it is not present in the directory, then I will have to write the entire path. So it is important to have, it's better to always keep the files which we are dealing in the same directory, that is in our current directory. That is the directory in which we are working. So this open function will return an object that is a file object. So this is F is called as a file object. So you can do many operations using this object. But you can read, you can read and write and do so many other things which we are going to see using the file object. So this open function um, returns the file object. Using the file object, we can do all the operations. Now in the open function, we can also add one more parameter, that is basically the mode in which we want to open the file. Suppose I want to open the file only for reading. I just want to read from the file. I don't want to write anything on the file. I don't want to edit anything in the file. I just want to read from the file. So now we are talking about text files. So this open function is valid to open to return the file object for any kind of file, but from here we are talking about text files. So how to read, write, and append to a text file. So we can open it in the read mode. So for the read mode, we use R. For write mode, we use W. And for append mode, we use A. So these three are the most common modes. There are other variations. You can see this big table. The most common ones are read, write, and append. So we'll see them in detail. You can go through the other types of modes as well in this table. So how do we open it in a current mode? One second. So you can see I've written I've used that open function, and I have uh, uh, I have printed f. So it is telling me that it is so this indicates it's a file object. So io.text io wrapper, its name is test.txt, the mode is R. So if I have not mentioned any mode, then the mode is R by default. This is the default mode in which it opens. So, and the encoding. So these are the attributes of this object. So if I want to open it in the write mode or in the open mode, I can use a comma and specify the mode here. So when I write W here, it means I'm opening in the write mode. That means I can write to the file. So, so you can see by executing this as well, now the mode is W. It is still a file object and the same name, and but the mode is write mode. So in so so here you see that unlike other languages, the character A does not imply the number 97 until it is encoded using ASCII. Moreover, the default encoding is platform dependent. In Windows, it is this one. So, so basically here, um, they're talking about the encoding. So for this, you need to know ASCII and Unicode. So we are not going to deal with encoding right now here. We are just talking about the modes. So if someone is familiar with it, they can read this. It's fine. So if you, I hope you know UTF-8. You can in your file manager as well. Most of the times you'll be seeing this encoding UTF-8. So if one is interested, one can read about encoding as well. So we have seen the modes in which we can open a file using the open function in Python. Now so so after opening a file, we'll do some operations using the file object, and then we have to close the file. It is very important to close the file, otherwise there can be resource leakage. That means uh, it might cause some problems because the file will still be open in in the point of view of the Python interpreter, and there can be resource leakage. So it is important to close the file once we have performed all the file operations. But but this is not a good method because we need to open and we need to close. Sometimes we may not be like if someone each time we open a file, we should remember to close it. So that is not a good way. So there is a better way to deal with files where it is automatically closed after performing the operations. So we'll see that. So here you can see that we are using the try finally block, so that if any exception occurs while performing the file operations, the file is simply closed without disturbing the execution of the program. So so this is what we have seen yesterday for exception handling. So we have seen examples related to files as well in exception handling, and we told that we'll see how to deal with files. So after this lecture, you can go back and see the file examples in yesterday's lecture. So we told that there is a better method to deal with files, that is using the with statement. So you can write with open x.txt and this encoding. You can actually skip the encoding. We are going to deal with only name and mode. So if the mode is not mentioned, it is a read mode. So with open as f. So this open function will return an object and it will be stored in f. So we are calling it as f. So with open as f means f will be the file object open, which is opened by this open. And this is a with statement. Again, a colon is important. We'll do the file operations here everywhere, just like the for loop or if else statement, the indentation is required. And once the indentation is over, that means the with block is over, the file f will be automatically closed. We need not explicitly close the file, it will automatically be closed. Even if an exception occurs in the with block, the file will be automatically closed. So this is a safe way of using files using the with statement. So now what can we do with the file object? So the file object has different attributes like closed, mode, and name. So if you do, if you use file dot closed, it will return whether the file is closed or not. If the file is closed, it will return true. Otherwise, it returns false. File dot mode will return the mode in which the file was opened, and file dot name will return the name of the file. So suppose here we have opened data.txt in WB mode, and we have stored the file object in this variable, or we have called the file object as data. So now you can see we are printing the different attributes using the file object. We are printing, you can print the name, we can print the, whether it is closed or not, we can print the mode. And since we have not used with here, we will have to explicitly close it. So you can see that the required attributes are given by the file object. Now we can use many functions on using the file object. So we can write two files in Python using the file object. So for writing, we need to open it in the write mode or append mode or exclusive creation mode. So W or A or X. So we need to be careful about the write mode because when you open a file in the write mode, the cursor will be at the starting of the file. So if this is the file um, and this is the beginning of the file, when you open the file in the write mode, the cursor will be here. So if you write something um, into the file, then it will overwrite this first statement and this will be lost for us. So we need to be careful while using the write mode. So in order to avoid that, we can use the append mode. In the append mode, the file will be open in the write mode, but the cursor will be at the end. So when you write something, it will be added to the file instead of overwriting the already present content. So here you can see this example. Here we are using the with statement. From now on, we'll better use with statement. So with we are opening the test1.txt in the write mode, and I'm writing f.write my first file, this file, and so I can write to the file by using the write function acting on the file object. So f.write will write whatever is passed to the write function into my file. So my first file and then \n is written into the file. That means the cursor moves to the next line in the file. So similarly here, it moves to two new lines, and then this is written. So don't get confused that this will be overwritten on this. So what happens when you open W, the cursor is at the starting location, and this my first line is written. And when you write again, the cursor is still at that position because you have not closed and open it again. When you close and open it again, the cursor will go back to the starting location when you open in the write mode. But once you have opened and you are writing again and again, so it will write continuously, meaning it will not overwrite. It will write one below the other in that way. So you can see that when you check if f is closed or not, you can see that it is closed because the with statement will automatically close it after the with block. You can see test1.txt here. So you can see the required things were written into this test1.txt. So to illustrate this in a better way, I can delete this test1.txt and run this one. So you can see test1.txt came because I I opened test1.txt. So if the file does not exist, it will create it in the current directory, and it is open in the write mode, and I've executed this. So I've written this into this one. So now you can see this is written into this text file. So similarly, here is one more example of test2.txt. You can do the similar thing here. So if we have append mode, so now we have already created test2.txt here. So now we want to add something more to test2.txt. So I will open it in the append mode and I will write this one into this. So now after executing this, you can see in test2 this text has to be appended at the end. So this has been written into the file. So what happens if I had done this by using the write mode? So if I had done this using the write mode, you can see that the old one will be lost and this one has been written from the starting. I hope everybody can see the difference. Here you can, I want to illustrate one more thing. So I can reduce this text. I'm keeping both in the write mode. So first I'm executing this. So in test2.txt, first I'm writing these 3 lines. So now test2.txt is this. So now I am executing this in the write mode. So what do you expect? It writes this from the beginning of the file. So you can see that it writes this from the beginning of the file. Okay, fine. So that is the difference between the append mode and the write mode. I hope everybody got that. So this is similar, but without using with. So basically we are opening and then writing and then closing it because we have not used with. So if data1.txt was not present, so data1.txt was created in the current directory because of this execution. Similarly, we can read files in Python by using the reading mode. So if we open a file in the R mode, it is used for only reading. You cannot edit the file there. You can just read from the file. So for this, we have the read method. So when you open a file in the read mode, you can read it by using f.read. F is a file object which is written by open in the read mode. So f.read will return the entire file, entire text file as a string. So you can see that uh, the type of txt is str. That means it is a string. So f.read will return a string containing the entire characters in the file. So print txt. So in test.txt, we have not written anything. So that is why. Suppose I write something and then execute it. You can see that the content is printed here. So the entire content of the file is written as one single string and it is returned to txt. So the type of txt will be string, and when you print txt, it is this, and then f.close. So you can pass some uh, parameter to read. For example, when you pass 8, it will read the first 8 data characters, first 8 characters in your file. So it's better to keep it. We'll keep it short. So because we have less content in our file, to illustrate, we'll be keeping it small numbers. Like suppose I want to read only the first 2 characters of my file. So I will just write f.read2. So you can see it returns the first 2 characters of test1.txt. So you can see test1.txt is here. The first 2 characters are mine. So what happens when I run read again before closing the file? I have not yet closed the file, but I will run read again. Now I'll write 5. So do you expect it gives the first 5 characters? No, because the cursor is currently uh, after these two characters. So when I write f dot read 5, it gives 5 characters from here. That means after these two characters. So you can see it gives the space and then the FIRS. So next 5 characters are printed. So now the cursor is after S. So now if you print read, it will give the entire content of the file starting from after S, because the cursor is now here. So you can see after here it is T, and from there we are getting this entire remaining content of the file. I hope everybody understood how read works. So if you, after reading it entirely, now the cursor is at the end of the file. If you read it again, it will just give the empty string, because the cursor is already at the end of the file. There is nothing else to read. So in the read and the write mode, when you open the file, the cursor is at the starting location, and until you close the file, the cursor will be wherever you have done the operations. Like it will be at the location depending on what operations you have done. In the append mode, if you open in the append mode, it will be at the end of the file, even when you open it, just when you open it. So you can see that it gives \n because it's returning a string. So how will it represent this new line? So that is represented by \n. So so we can see that the location of the cursor is very important while dealing with files, text files. So how can we get the current file position? Suppose you do many operations and you are lost and you don't know the current location of the cursor in your file. So you can use a tell function. So f.tell will give the current location of the cursor in your file. So it is 50, meaning, so here we had read it till the end of the file. So there were 50 characters. So again, it is zero based indexing. So the first character will be 0, and then it is 1, and so on. It is one character or one byte, you can say. So so the index at which the cursor is present is 50. That means it is at the 51st character. So you can say like that. And so, like it is at the 50th position, 50th index or 51st character. So you can use the seek function f.seek10. That means it will go to the index 10 or 11th character in your file. So seek10 will go to the 10th location in your file. So it's not actually the initial location. If it is 0, it will go to the initial location. So if it is 0, you're bringing the cursor back to the initial position, or basically the beginning of the file. So now if you try to read f.read, what do you expect? Because we have put the cursor to the 0 location by executing f.seek. So you can see that it prints now the cursor is at the starting, so it will print my f. The space is also counted, so it is 4 characters. Suppose I had done it 10. So the cursor would be at the 10th location. And now if I read 4, you can see that it is printing this one. So you can see the content of the file. So you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So so it was so it should be the 11th character, because we should start the indexing from 0. So I is at index 10. So when I put seek 10, the cursor came to I. So when I read 4, it will read 4 characters from I. That is I, L, E, and \n. That is a new line character. New line character is also a character. So it is printing these 4 characters. So now if I read the entire file, now the cursor is after this \n. So from there it will print the entire this remaining content. So I hope you note the difference. So print f.read will give this, but if I just ask what is f.read, then it will be the string. F.read will return a string. So you can okay. So I had so f.read will return a string, but when you write print f.read, So this string will be passed to print, and then print will understand that backslash n is a new line. So it will give the output in a new line. But what does f dot read give? F dot read give will give a string. So you can see what it is giving. It is giving a string that contains backslash n. When you write print, print will understand that backslash n is a new line, and then it will give the new line here. So we can also read the file line by line using the for loop. So once you have the file object f, so you can do the for loop like this. So for line in f, print line. So for line in f means um, it automatically takes one line at a time in your file. That means up to backslash n, up to the one backslash n, it will consider as a one line. So you can see, you can see it is printing. So this line is printed in the first case. So you can check the break, see that only the first line will be printed. So you can see in the first iteration, the first line will be taken, it will print it, and I'm breaking it just to illustrate that it is taking a line properly. So you can see that it is correctly taking one line of the file. So for line, so it's a very easy method to iterate to a file like in terms of lines. So very easily you can just write for line in f. So similarly, we have another important function, that is a read line method. So read line method will give you uh, give you one entire line of the file uh, from the location of the cursor it is where it is present. So if the cursor is this at this location, then read line will give you the entire string up to the first backslash and it encounters, or basically the end of the file. So basically it gives the entire line from the current position of the so it gives the entire string from the current position of the cursor to the end of that line in which it is present. So you can see we are putting the cursor back to 0 by using C0, and then I'm f dot read line. So I have to write print. So you can see that I'll better write print here as well. So to show you that it puts a line, so I can just put it in this way. So you can see the first print is printing the first line. So f dot read line, the cursor was at 0. So from 0, it prints the end of the line till the end of that line from where the cursor is present. So the cursor was here, it printed till it found a backslash n, and then it printed plus, and then I printed the next line. So now the cursor is here. So after this backslash n, until the next backslash n, it will print this one. That means it is printing the next line. So read line will give us individual lines. So again, if you try to do read line, it will give the next line because the cursor is okay. The next line was basically backslash n because we had two backslash n in that text one dot txt, because we had here two spaces, here backslash n and here also backslash n. It's an empty line, so it was giving that one. If you do again read line, it will give the next line that is basically contains three lines backslash n. If you do again read line, then it is already at the end of the file, so it returns an empty string. So read lines method will give you the entire list of it will give you a list where each element is one line of the file. So read lines, be careful about the read lines method and read line method. Read line will give you one line from the position of the cursor to the end of that line, and read lines will give you a list from the current position of the cursor to the end of the file, where each element of the list is a line. So if I'm starting from the beginning by using f.seek0, I will get this entire list where each element is one line of the file. Similarly, so f.read, what does f.read give? We have seen this f.read, it will give the entire content simply as one string. before that f dot seek 0, because the cursor was here, the cursor was at the end of the file, so that is why it is returning an empty string. So I had to put back the cursor at first location, and then I will read. So you can see that read will just give the entire content as one string. So now you can from f dot read, if you want to get the lines, you can use f dot read dot split lines. So this will also behave just like read lines. So this will give you the list containing each line, but here there is no backslash n. So you can see in the read lines, backslash n was included in the elements, but here backslash n is not included in the elements. So splitting always removes the element at which it is split. We have seen this in case of lists and strings as well. So I hope everybody can uh, try to understand this code now. So this is also similar example. We have talked about read. We have talked about read with an argument. We have talked about open and file object and so on. So we have seen the tell method and seek also. So tell method will give you the current location of the cursor, and seek will take the cursor to the required location. So so we have seen this kind of annotation, seek 0. This will take the cursor to the 0th location. But there is also one more way of using seek, that is basically uh, by passing two arguments. That means I can do it in this way. So I can do it in this way by passing I can pass two arguments to seek. So the first argument is called as the offset, and the second argument is called as the from. That means from the 0th location I have to go 5. From the 0th location I have to go 5 positions, or you can put some 9. From the 9th location I have to go 5 positions, so it will go to the 5th location. From the 9th location the cursor will be taken to the 5th location starting from the index 9. So in this way you can use the seek with two arguments as well. So the next I hope this is clear. Does anybody have any doubt till here? So there are many other functions which you can go through. We have talked about close, we have talked about read and read line, read lines, seek, etc. So there are other functions which you can use with the file object. So these are listed here. There are many more. You can go through them. The main things were covered in the above, like in the lecture. So you can also delete a file by importing this module OS. So by importing the module OS, you can use the function remove. So os.remove data.txt will remove the file from the current directory. It basically deletes the file. And if the file does not exist, it will raise an error. So we use if else, or we can use, what can we use instead of if else? Anyone? If the
Try accept.
Yeah, so try except will be a better option to deal with exception handling. So if you're trying to remove an um, if you're trying to remove a file that does not exist, it will raise an error. And to avoid termination of the program, we can use except. So try except can be done, or if else can be done in this way. Okay, I will pass on. I will pass on to Bhavya Prabhu. Bhavya Prabhu can continue from here.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Uh, ठीक है. Is everyone comfortable with Hindi? Okay. So I will cover my part in try to cover it in both Hindi and English. So मेरे पार्ट में मैं कवर करूंगा डायरेक्टरी. तो पहले एक बार ऊपर पर समझ लेते हैं क्या होता है. हाँ. जब भी हम कोई मतलब लाइक कोई भी हम फाइल डाउनलोड करते हैं तो वो एक कहीं जाके स्टोर होती है. तो जिस फोल्डर के अंदर वो स्टोर होती है वो फाइल उसको हम कहते हैं डायरेक्टरी. डायरेक्टरी के अंदर जो फाइल्स होती हैं उनको हम कहते हैं सब डायरेक्टरीज. सो जो फोल्डर हो गए वो हमारे हो गए डायरेक्टरीज और जो उसके अंदर की फाइल्स है वो है हमारी सब डायरेक्टरीज. फॉर एग्जांपल कि जो ये तुम बूट कैम्प कर रहे हो उसमें भी तुम फाइल्स डाउनलोड करते हो और उस पर अगेन तुम देन ट्राई टू सर्च की चीज़ें कैसे कैसे हो रही है. तो उसके अंदर जब वो तुम डाउनलोड करते हो तो वो कहीं ना कहीं स्टोर होती है. तो उसको जहाँ पे वो स्टोर होते हैं जिस फोल्डर में वो स्टोर होते हैं उसको हम डायरेक्टरी कहते हैं. तो उसके अंदर हम कुछ ऑपरेशंस कर सकते हैं. हम देख सकते हैं कौन सी डायरेक्टरी में हम वर्क कर रहे हैं. हम एक नई डायरेक्टरी बना सकते हैं. हम जिस डायरेक्टरी में वर्क कर रहे हैं उसको चेंज कर सकते हैं. दूसरे फोल्डर में जा सकते हैं. दूसरी डायरेक्टरी में जा सकते हैं. और हम रीनेम कर सकते हैं डायरेक्टरी को. हाँ. यही फंक्शन यही चीज़ होती है. तो लेट्स स्टार्ट करते हैं. इसके अंदर भी हम जैसे अभी सागर पे हमने डिस्कस किया उसके अंदर हमने ओएस मॉड्यूल का यूज़ किया था. इसमें भी हम ओएस मॉड्यूल का यूज़ करेंगे. So then we will first write import OS and first is to get the current directory. अभी जो मैं जैसे मैं इस फाइल में काम कर रहा हूँ जिस फोल्डर में काम कर रहा हूँ ये जो मेरा कोड चल रहा है ये किस डायरेक्टरी में चल रहा है मुझे ये जानना है. तो मैं क्या करूँगा मैं यूज़ करूँगा देर I will use the function get cwd and then bracket in the bracket. हाँ in the bracket question I go here. हम्म. तो मैं वर्क कर रहा हूँ. ये मेरा पाथ है उस डायरेक्टरी का या उस फोल्डर का मेरा ये पाथ है. ये रिपीटेड है. एंड नेक्स्ट आई कैन. हाँ इसके अंदर एक इम्पोर्टेंट चीज नहीं कहाँ गया. ओके ठीक है मैं यहाँ बता दूंगा. ओके. नेक्स्ट इज चेंजिंग डायरेक्टरी. जो इस डायरेक्टरी में हम वर्क कर रहे हैं उसको हम चेंज कर सकते हैं दूसरी डायरेक्टरी में. यानी हम जिस फोल्डर में अभी वर्क कर रहे हैं उससे हम दूसरी फोल्डर में जा सकते हैं. सो लाइक दिस. Let me make one directory first. Hmm, and then change directory and then list directory. Make a new directory. Yeah, let's first see this part. To make directory first we see in which हम किस डायरेक्टरी में वर्क कर रहे हैं और अब हम एक नई डायरेक्टरी बनाते हैं यहाँ पर. लेट्स क्रिएट इट. हाँ यहाँ पे अभी इसको कमेंट कर देते हैं. हम्म. हम्म. ये डायरेक्टरी एग्जिस्ट करती है. यहाँ पे import os os dot mkdir. और अब मुझे जो डायरेक्टरी बनानी है उसका नाम, ये उसका सिंटेक्स लिखा हुआ है, ओके डॉट एम के डी आई आर एंड डी आई आर नेम आई क्रिएट इन इन डबल कोट्स और सिंगल कोट्स। code in Yeah, I have make a new directory called in Krishna consciousness. So first was the current directory, second is new directory, and I will now now change directory. I can change directory using chdir. I have to write either the path uh, or the name of my file. तो हमने यहाँ पे डायरेक्टरी, पहले एक डायरेक्टरी हमारी करंट थी, उसके बाद हमने एक डायरेक्टरी बनाई और यहाँ पे हमने उसको डायरेक्टरी चेंज कर दी। अब हम कौन सी डायरेक्टरी में है? कोऑर्डिन कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस वाली डायरेक्टरी में। इसके अंदर एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है, मैंने ये आर यूज किया है। आर जनरली यहाँ पे कोई इफेक्ट शायद नहीं देगा लेकिन जब हम पाथ कॉपी करके डालते हैं, सपोज मैं फाइल में गया अपनी और यहाँ पे मैंने कुछ एक अलग फोल्डर बना लिया, लाइक न्यू फोल्डर बनाया, क्रिएट करा और देन मैंने उसको नाम दे दिया, ए दे देते हैं जल्दी, ए बी सी डी समथिंग, एंड देन आई कॉपी द sorry I copy a path from here and I can write os dot chdir commas r and then c। सो ये जो आर यूज करते हैं, हाँ, हमने यहाँ पे काफी सारे एस्केप सीक्वेंसेस यूज किए हैं, लाइक बैक स्लैश यूज करें, इसके अंदर काफी सारे एस्केप सीक्वेंस है। तो जो हमारा जो कोड है पाइथन, वो इन एस्केप सीक्वेंसेस को की तरह यूज ना करे, इसलिए हम यहाँ पे आर लगाते हैं, लाइक ये एक सिंगल एक स्ट्रिंग की तरह यूज करे इसे। इसलिए लाइक पीछे भी ये डिस्कस किया था आर का यूज। I won't run this part because my directory will get yeah. Uh, let's check in which directory we are currently in. We are currently in Krishna consciousness directory. So list of directory. List means what are the files I have in my directory. So let print. Here it gives no value because currently I don't have any file in my this code in Krishna consciousness directory. Let's see it once I click it. I have no folder or no file. That's why it give this. Or I can go to my previous directory which had some files. Os dot list dir. Let me copy the path from above. This was my path. Control plus C. Double quotes is needed. And are also needed. Yeah. This my bootcamp Y23 was the larger folder in which I have these files or subdirectories: AGHH, coordination, consciousness, and this all. Like I can show you here. Currently, we are in bootcamp Y23, and these are the files. एक ये पास करते हैं। हाँ, इसके अंदर जो हमने लिस्ट निकाली है फाइल्स की, वो कौन सी डायरेक्टरी की निकाली है? वो है ये वाली डायरेक्टरी, सी कॉलन डबल बैक स्लैश इन ये जो हमारी, ये जो हमने डायरेक्टरी का पाथ दिया है, ये हमारी रूट डायरेक्टरी, इट रेफर्स टू दैट रूट डायरेक्टरी। कौन सी डायरेक्टरी? हमारी जो रूट डायरेक्टरी है हमारे विंडो सिस्टम की, यानी हमारे पूरे लैपटॉप की जो मेन रूट डायरेक्टरी होती है, जिसके अंदर हमारा मेनली सारा वर्क स्टोर होता है। मेक dir, ये हमने देख लिया। रीनेमिंग ऑफ अ डायरेक्टरी, वी कैन रीनेम। I think I need to do it opposite. Control C. I think previous was right. What were our files? Let's see it once. These were our files, and this is Python study. So I'm going to rename my Python study to Python learning. Mm, I think I am not in that directory. Mm, Check in which directory we are currently in. Os dot get cwd. Hmm. Yeah, we are in currently in code in consciousness. That is why we were not able to change this. So if we want to repeat that part, we need to come back to our uh, bootcamp directory. So let's change our current directory, chdir, back to that bootcamp. Let me copy it from here. Mm, Let me copy the path from above. Hmm, yeah, फाइनली ये हो गया एग्जीक्यूट रन। इसका भी नाम चेंज कर सकते हैं, फाइल नेम, फाइल रीनेम्ड। रिमूव, कैसे रिमूव एक डायरेक्टरी को रिमूव करते हैं। पहला फंक्शन है एक हमारा RMDIR, इसको हम यूज कर सकते हैं। Yeah, directory related, and then we see what are the files we have in our main directory, that is mm, that bootcamp. So we are left with 3 directories. Earlier we had 4 that included Python learning also. लेकिन इसका एक एक इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है, RMDIR जो मेथड है वो हमारा खाली वो वाली डायरेक्टरी हटाता है जो हमारी एम्प्टी होती है। अगर ये एम्प्टी नहीं होती तो ये यहाँ पे एरर शो कर देता। अगर हमें जो कैसी भी डायरेक्टरी हो, चाहे फील्ड हो अनफील्ड हो एनीथिंग, तो उसको हटाने तो हम यूज़ करते हैं RM ट्री का। लेकिन इसके अंदर हम दूसरा मॉड्यूल यूज़ करते हैं शटल। तो फर्स्ट वी विल इंपोर्ट शटल एंड देन शटल डॉट RM ट्री। एरर इस वजह से है क्योंकि ये पहले ही डिलीट हो चुकी है। सो लेट मी डिलीट द bootcamp directory. ओके, इसके अंदर कुछ दिक्कत है, लेकिन जनरली जो RMT यूज़ होता है वो उन फाइल्स को रीड करने के लिए होता है जो एम्प्टी नहीं। देन एक क्वेश्चन आता है कि why do we need to do so many manipulations on these files। अगर जैसे मैं चाहता तो मैं यहाँ पे सीधे डायरेक्ट जाता फाइल्स में अपना, और यहाँ पे कोई भी फोल्डर बनाता या कोई भी चेंजेस कर देता। और तो मुझे ये सारे कोड्स लिखने की क्या ज़रूरत थी कि यहाँ पे मुझे एक डायरेक्टरी बनानी है या क्या करना है। सो कोई भी कुछ भी थोड़ा बहुत आंसर देना चाहेगा। अभी तक का क्लियर हो गया ना, मतलब जितना पीछे का पार्ट था। तो हमने 3-4 चीज़ें करी। पहले एक डायरेक्टरी बनाई, नहीं, पहले एक चेक करा हमारी कौन सी करंट डायरेक्टरी है। सेकंड हमने एक डायरेक्टरी बनाई। थर्ड हमने एक डायरेक्टरी, उस डायरेक्टरी को चेंज करा। फोर्थ हमने उसकी लिस्ट निकाली, उसके अंदर हमारी डायरेक्टरी में क्या क्या चीज़ें थी। और एक हमने फिफ्थ में वर्क किया रीनेमिंग का। और फोर्थ हमने करा रिमूव डायरेक्टरी। रिमूव के अंदर 2 चीज़ें होती हैं, एक RMDIR जो हमारा खाली जो एम्प्टी डायरेक्टरीज है उनको रिमूव करता है। और लेकिन अगर हमारे पास फील्ड डायरेक्टरीज हैं उनको हटाना है तो हमारे पास दूसरा है, लेकिन दूसरा मॉडल यूज करना पड़ेगा शटल। उसके अंदर हम RMT का यूज करेंगे। तो यहाँ तक क्लियर हो गया ना सभी को। यहाँ तक क्लियर हो गया।
Yes, Prabhu.
ओके। तो मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा कि अगर मैं चाहता तो सीधे डायरेक्ट फोल्डर में जाता, वहाँ पे चेंजेस वेंजेस कर देता, नेम वेम जो भी चेंज करना है मुझे, जो भी मैंने 6-7 ऑपरेशंस करे हैं। तो मुझे क्या ही जरूरत थी मतलब इन सारे कोड्स लिखने की। कोई कुछ भी आंसर करना चाहेगा, थोड़ा बहुत भी। वो काफी स्लो होगा। ओके, ठीक है, मैं एक बार ये स्लो वाला पॉइंट डिटेल कर देता हूँ। स्लो इन द सेंस कि मतलब हम एक कोड में एक विंडो हमने खोल रखी है, हम यहीं पे सारे चेंजेस कर सकते हैं। अगर हम बार बार एक में अलग टैब पे जाऊंगा, वहाँ पे फोल्डर में खोलूंगा, वहाँ पे फिर मैं अपने कुछ नया फोल्डर बनाऊंगा, वो सब करूंगा। तो एक मेरे पास रिकॉर्ड नहीं रहने का। अगर मान लो यहाँ पे तो हमने खाली 2-3 फाइल्स बनाई, अगर मान लो मुझे जब बहुत बड़ा वर्क होता है लार्ज स्केल पे, तो काफ़ी सारी फाइल्स होती है, काफ़ी सारे फोल्डर्स होते हैं। तो मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ फाइल्स बनाई, मान लो मैंने 6-7 फाइल्स बनाए, और मुझे उनके नाम ही याद नहीं रहे, या मैंने क्या चेंजेस करे थे, क्या क्या बनाई थी, वो याद नहीं रही। और हो सकता है मैं, जब इतने बड़े प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं तो कोलैबोरेट करके होते हैं, तो मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ फाइल्स बनाई, लेकिन मेरे कोलैबोरेटर को पता ही नहीं है, मेरे दूसरे पार्टनर को, मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ फाइल्स बनाई थी, या यहाँ पे वो फाइल्स क्यों चेंज करी, कैसे चेंज करी, वो सब। एक पॉइंट ये है। और कोई पॉइंट? कुछ भी थोड़ा बहुत और? ठीक है, मैं एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ बाकी के पॉइंट्स। If you made a file and disturbed it to and distributed to everyone, and I need to save a file, then I cannot go and make it there. So coding it is the only option. हाँ, right, right, right. ठीक है, बढ़िया। ठीक है, एक बार मैंने कुछ पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं, उनको देख लेते हैं। फर्स्ट, क्रॉस प्लेटफॉर्म कंपैटिबिलिटी, सिमिलर पॉइंट्स जो अभी चैट पे आया, uh, राहुल का। The first point, the cross-platform definitely different operating system, Windows, Linux, Macs have different file system structures and path conventions. Uh, एक हम पाइथन में हम एक ही कोड यूज कर रहे हैं, एक ही तरह का सिंटेक्स फॉलो कर रहे हैं, जो सारी चेंजेस करेगा। अब हो सकता है मेरा ये विंडोज है, इसके अंदर मेरे चेंजेस करने का अलग तरीका हो। अगर मैं लाइक मैक में जाऊंगा तो उसके अंदर अलग चीज होंगी, लिनक्स में जाऊंगा उसके अंदर अलग चीज हो सकती है। एक ये पॉइंट है। एक एरर हैंडलिंग का, अगर मैं अपने आप से फाइल चेंजेस करूंगा तो उसके अंदर एरर हो सकता है, लाइक मैंने कोई वर्ड ही लिखा, उसके अंदर स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक कर दिया, नो। Abstraction and readability clearly indicates the intention to move the file, which while directly manipulating file path might be less clear. अगर मैं डायरेक्टली करूँगा तो अगर मैं कुछ दिनों बाद इसको प्रोग्राम को फिर से देखूंगा तो मुझे याद ही नहीं आएगा कि मैंने फाइल चेंजेस क्यों करी थी। तो यहाँ पे मैंने एक जगह पूरा उसका कोड लिख रखा है, तो मुझे पता चल जाएगा कि हाँ, इस टाइम पे मैंने दूसरी डायरेक्टरी में गया हूँ, इस टाइम पे मैं उस डायरेक्टरी में गया हूँ। एंड देन पोर्टेबिलिटी। पोर्टेबिलिटी, अगर मैं यही कोड किसी और कंप्यूटर या मतलब किसी और जगह चलाऊंगा तो वहाँ पे मेरी फाइल्स में मैं मुझे फिर से वही चेंजेस करने पड़ेंगे। अगर मैं किसी और पे चलाऊंगा तो फिर हमें फिर से मुझे मैन्युअली वो करना पड़ेगा। लेकिन अगर मेरे पास कोड है तो मुझे मैन्युअली करने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो अपने आप होता रहेगा। दीज आर सम ऑफ द पॉइंट्स। और भी पॉइंट्स हो सकते हैं, यू कैन ट्राई टू सर्च फॉर दैम। ओके, अभी तक का किसी का कोई डाउट मेरे पार्ट से रिलेटेड, या अंश प्रभु और सागर प्रभु के पार्ट से रिलेटेड? Okay, then Sagar Prabhu and Ansh Prabhu, do you want to add something?
I think there was a small part left regarding other file types. So whatever we have discussed, how to manipulate the files, reading and writing, all these things are whatever I discussed. That was for text file. So this directory management is valid for all files, and open is also valid for all files. But whatever we read, the write, read, and read lines, etc., is valid only for text files. So there are so we'll see very little about other files. So shall we do it now itself in few minutes? Okay, I hope my screen is visible. So we'll just see some brief things about other file types. So whatever we have done till now is basically for text files. That means extension is .txt. So we are seeing this test1.txt, data1.txt, test2, all these things we saw above. But there are other file types like JSON, So JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation or Object Notation. That means it is basically a Python dictionary, but it is the Python dictionary is made like a string. So this, we know this is a Python dictionary, and we have made it a string using this double quotes. So this is a this is basically how a JSON file is present. So to use a multi-line string, we know we have to use 3 single quotes. So you can see how a JSON file will be. So see, this is .json. So JSON example .json. So you can see it is actually a dictionary, but here the strings, the double quotes are not visible, but actually the JSON file means it is basically a Python dictionary which is stringified. That means it is under double quotes or single quotes. So how to so some operations on this file we'll see. We can convert the JSON into dictionary by using the loads method, but the loads method is present in the JSON module. So we have to import JSON, and then we can write like this: JSON.loads person and person JSON. So person JSON is the stringified dictionary, and using the loads function, we can convert it into a actual Python dictionary. So you can see when I execute it, it gives the type of this person DCT is basically dictionary, and it will give us the actual dictionary which we are expecting from this string. And just like how we do for dictionaries, we can do the exact same thing. That means we are just illustrating that it has become an actual Python dictionary by using the loads function. We can also convert the dictionary into JSON by using the dumps method. Again, it is present in the JSON module. So you can use json.dumps, and you can pass the Python dictionary, and you can put another parameter like indent. That indent is basically how much space, how much indentation it should give for different elements of the dictionary. So you can see that by using dumps, we have got the person JSON. So you can see the type of person JSON is now string. So the entire dictionary has become is enclosed within double quotes or single quotes. That means it is made into a string. And you can see by printing, while printing, the double quotes are not visible, because when you print a string, it doesn't uh, like if you don't write the print function, then you'll get the double quotes. But if you write the print function, then the double quotes will not be visible. So you can see now here the single quotes or double quotes. So basically here single quotes is shown. So you can see that the dictionary is enclosed within single quotes, and the backslash n is like the new lines are expressed in terms of backslash n. So if you write print JSON, so what this space is basically the indentation which we are talking about. So to better visualize it, we can write it in the print function. So when you write it in the print function, so when you print a string, it doesn't print the double or single quotes, and it will take the backslash n as a new line. So this indent refers to this space which we're talking about. So you can change it to 2 and see how it will change. So you can see this has come closer. So this is what is the indent which we are talking about. So now how do you save it as a JSON file? So now we know how to convert it into a dictionary into a string, but now we want to save it as a JSON file. For that, we use a dump method. So do not get confused with this. This is dumps, and that is dump. Just like read line and read lines, this is dump and dumps. So we have the Python dictionary, and we open a file. So if this file is not present, so suppose I will delete this file here. So this file is not present. So when I execute this, when I execute this open, so because this file is not present, it will create in my current directory, and it is opened in the write mode. So now how will I write into it? We cannot use the write function, because all those write read were basically for text files. So we need to use dump. and dump is present in the JSON module. So I have to import it, and then I will write json.dump. So note that we are not writing f.dump. So f is a file object here, but here the syntax is basically json.dump, and then we are passing f as a parameter. It is not like the read or write function where you are writing f.read or f.write. So you can see json.example has come here, and this Python dictionary as a string will be put here. I hope everybody can see the result. So these are some other, so indentation, we know this. We have to pass the dictionary first, and then the file object, and then some other parameters, and then we have the indentation. So this is how you deal with JSON file. So next we go with CSV files. CSV meaning comma separated values. So a CSV file will be just like a uh, text file, but the tokens will be separated by commas. So you can see that everything is just separated by commas. So this is basically a CSV file, comma separated values. So how do we work with CSV file? For CSV, again, we have to import a new module that is basically CSV. For JSON, import JSON. For CSV, import CSV. So again, if the required the file which we are opening is not present, that file will be created in the um, in the current in the current directory if we are writing it in the right mode. But since we have not mentioned any like since we have not mentioned any mode, that means it is in the read mode. I hope it is. I hope that everybody remembers that part. So again, we are using csv.reader. So again, we are note that we are not writing f.reader. So reader is a function. We are not using f.reader. We have to write in terms of csv.reader and pass f as a parameter. And then delimiter is comma. So csv reader. So we are using line count is equal to 0 for row in CSV reader, just like we were writing for line in f.read. So every line was just treated very easily using the for loop. So similarly here, every row can be easily treated by just writing for row in CSV reader. So for if line count is equal to 0, I'm printing this. So this is basically the heading. So so in the CSV file, the first one is the heading here. So that is why we are writing for the first line, we are printing the column names are name, country, city, and skills. So again, we have discussed this f prefix, that is a format string. So inside the curly braces, we have written comma join row. So that means the values in the row will be joined by comma and put here. So like this, name, comma, country, city, skills. So for other rows, we are printing this sentence. So again, we are formatting it. Row of 0 is a teacher. He lives in row 2, row 1. So here we had Milan, England, London, and Python. So we'll get this corresponding values here. Milan is a teacher and he lives in London, England. And finally, after the for loop, we can see that the number of lines is basically given by the line count, that is 2. You can see what is the type of CSV reader. So CSV reader is an object of type CSV reader. Okay, so we need not worry about it. So we so we read from the CSV file using the reader function, and and we get the values by using the delimiter is equal to comma. We can treat the different rows individually by using the for loop, just like we did for lines in the text file. So we'll see the files with extension XLSX. So basically Excel files. So for that, we need to import Excel RD. And the function which we are using here is open workbook. So you can try out these things. So open workbook is basically here it just like open here it opens this sample.xls file, and this will be like the file object, and we can get various parameters like n sheets, sheet names, etc. by using this file object. Similarly, we deal with XML files. So XML, if anybody knows, so XML is just like HTML. It is called as extended markup language. But in XML, the tags are not predefined like HTML. So it is like user-based, user-defined language type of thing. So we can define our own tags. So don't worry much about this. Uh, so we have given the link for documentation. If anybody is interested, can go through this. Here we import xml.etree.elementary. So we can just go through this. Don't worry much about these things. So tree.getRoot. So get root meaning we'll get the root tag. For example, here person is the root tag of this XML code. So get root will be returning that uh, it will be returning that tag, and then so we can print root.tag. So root will be like the file object, but it is not exactly the file object. Okay, so root.tag, so root.attribute, so root.tag will print the tag which is a root, that is basically in the above case it is person is the root tag. So root.tag will print person and an attribute and so on. So these are just a brief idea about other types of files, but mainly text files are the most common and most basic way of dealing, most basic files which we deal with Python in the form of code. Okay. So what is the use of ensure ASCII? So ensure ASCII basically ensures that it ensures only the ASCII characters are present and not the Unicode characters. So basically those characters which are present in Unicode but not in ASCII code. So it tells us how to deal with those kind of things. So false in a sense it includes so it does not ensure that there are only ASCII characters, but by default it is true. So if it is true, then it ensures there are only ASCII characters. You can read more about it. So for that you need to have a good idea about encoding and so on. But in general, we don't have to worry about it right now. Okay, is there any other doubt? Bhavya Prabhu and Ansh Prabhu, do you have to say something?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, does anybody have any other thing? If not doubts, any other thing you want to ask? Okay, soon we'll release assignment 2 as well. Be enthusiastic, it will help you only. And then we'll have the programming contest and then the final project. Okay. Yeah, so you can DM me. I will we'll discuss about that submitting assignment. Okay, Tushar. Okay, we'll end the meeting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.